Happy Easter, everybody. Just doing some reflections here for the octave of Easter. Easter is such a big feast like Christmas that we celebrated for 8 full days, and in the church's liturgy, we celebrate each of those days as if it were the day itself. Easter is a time for joy, and so I thought maybe it would share a little of that joy with you by wearing my old coonskin cap, trapped it myself. One of the things I like about it is you see it's got the tail back there, and reminds me of back when I used to have a ponytail in college. That was kind of fun. Don't see that coming back, but it does. It feels kind of the same way. So, anyways, happy Easter and a little fur there to lighten our hearts. So we turn to the Word of God for Monday of the octave of Easter. We hear Peter addressing everyone at Pentecost, and so during the Easter season, the order of the readings, kind of time order, is a little bit reversed. So we start off typically with the Acts of the Apostles. And then we have a psalm, and then we go to the Gospels. And so, of course, the Gospels are taking place mostly before the resurrection, but certainly before Pentecost. And the Acts of the Apostles is taking place afterwards. So you got to kind of readjust your time stamp. But anyways, Peter is speaking with great boldness of Jesus. And in doing that, he speaks about how Jesus is fulfilling all of the promises of God. So he quotes David in the psalm. He says, "For David says of him," speaking of Jesus, "I saw the Lord ever before me, with him at my right hand, I shall not be disturbed." He continues on there with that passage from the Psalm, and it's the Psalm, Psalm 16, which we then read as the responsorial Psalm. And we see the same phrase in both of them. "Therefore my heart is glad and my soul rejoices. My body too abides in confidence, because you will not abandon my soul to the netherworld, nor will you suffer your faithful one to undergo corruption." And so Peter is saying to the people of Israel on that great homily, that great preaching he did at Pentecost, that Jesus has fulfilled all of the prophecies, especially the prophecies about David, including this one, that the Lord will be faithful, that he will not abandon us. I would say kind of as a programmatic theme during this Easter season is the way that the Lord did fulfill the promises he had made to his people. The way Jesus' resurrection is a fulfillment of all those promises, but a fulfillment far beyond anything they could have expected. A fulfillment which was not in accord with their own kind of understanding of what the Lord might do. And I would just say simply, I would propose to you that we're invited to trust that the Lord's work in our own lives is just like this. The Lord is faithful to his promises. He abides with us, but he fulfills his promises so often in ways that are far beyond our expectations, that come from directions and operate by modes and in ways that are deeper and richer and more beautiful, but very often surprising. So we're invited to trust, for instance, as we continue during this kind of somewhat frustrating time of quarantine, we're invited to trust that the Lord is going to be faithful to us in this time, that he's going to fulfill his promises, that the Lord's resurrection and his glory and his beauty and his joy is going to be present in our lives, going to be offered to us, but that we should be confident in advance, not only that he, one, will work, but that the way he works, number two, will not be what we expect. So here's to open hearts. Here's to an expectation, a readiness for the Lord's grace to move beyond our expectations. Happy Easter to you. Know of my prayers for you, and please keep me in your prayers as well.